It's Christmas Eve, 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George, Jenny, and their 9 children, go to bed after a long night of celebrations. At 1 a.m., the house catches fire. George and Jenny escape. 4 of their children escape, but 5 of them, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, are never seen again. No remains are found in the ashes, not a single bone, not a tooth, nothing. Investigators rule it an accident. Case closed. But George Sodder can't accept that, because the night of the fire, strange things happened that no one could explain. The phone line had been cut from the outside before the fire started. The fuse box, which should have triggered automatically, did nothing. And witnesses reported seeing a man near the house earlier that day, studying the property with unusual interest. George also remembered something else. Months before the fire, an insurance salesman had come to the house. When George refused to buy a policy, the man looked at his children and said quietly, "Your house will go up in smoke, and your children will be destroyed." George hired private investigators. He dug through the ruins himself, looking for any trace of his children. He found a heart, an intact human heart, preserved in the ashes. Experts said it belonged to someone between the ages of 16 and 22. None of the missing children were that age. Then, in 1967, over 20 years later, Jenny Sodder received a photograph in the mail. No return address. On the back, 4 words: Louis Sodder, I love brother. The man in the photo was in his 30s, but his eyes, his jawline, his expression. Jenny recognized him immediately. It was Louis. George Sodder died in 1969, never knowing what happened to his children. Jenny lived until 1989, keeping a billboard on the highway outside their home for decades, with the children's faces and a reward for any information. No one ever claimed it. The official story says they died in the fire, but there are no bodies. There is no proof. There is only a photograph that arrived 2 decades later from nowhere, addressed to a grieving mother. So here's the question this case leaves you with, and it's one investigators have never been able to answer. If they died in that fire, where are the bodies? And if they didn't, where have they been all this time? The Sodder case remains officially unsolved. No charges were ever filed. No explanation was ever given. Some mysteries don't end. They just go quiet.